right.
We're rolling.
We're going to start.
It's official.
It's official.
It's official.
It's begun.
We are
Episode
back.
24 with Jacob Givens in
Jacob
the
Givens,
house.
24
pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, exactly. The guy who can't drink beer anymore.
Yes. Well, I'm doing it today. I don't
Yeah, 'cause
care.
you're a fucking champion.
Well, cheers, guys.
Yeah. Cheers. Sorry, I took a drink like
Yeah.
a real asshole. Cheers, everybody. Cheers.
Cool.
Out of the official pint glasses with your guys' faces on them.
I know. Our mug's on a mug, right?
Our mug-
I gotta get
mug.
this done. Just for that. Just for me.
We have
Right?
no followers, but we have merchandise.
You have merchandise. That's the most important
Yeah,
thing.
exactly. Yeah,
That's the
that's
most
right.
It's the only
important
3
thing.
mugs purchased on the whole website.
I love
for
it.
this podcast.
I
So.
love it. That's great. Hi, guys.
Hello. So, Jacob, I mean, I guess we could kind of just... We've known each other for probably like 11, 12
decade.
years. Yeah, for sure over
12 years. Yeah,
Yeah.
probably. Because I started stand-up around that 2011, 2012 time, and we met early on.
Mm-hmm. Like one of the first people I met in stand-up.
Yeah.
And then crossed a lot of fucking like checkpoints together.
We did.
In comedy and stuff.
The trip that we did with Derek.
Yeah,
you
3
just
guys over
talking-
30. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that
Now
was
we're-
a monumentous moment.
Yeah, and we're all over 40 at this point.
Yeah, I know. Oh my God.
I just turned. Well, I think actually Derek just turned 30. I
Yeah,
think
he
I
was
might have been
probably the
32.
youngest of the 3.
And you were on your way out of your 30s.
I really
Fucking
was.
Bags packed, ready for the decade. Of,
Yes, closing in on 40, which I'm
Yeah.
now halfway through that era as well at 45. So
Yeah.
crazy.
Time
Crazy.
flies.
Yeah.
What do they say?
You still look the same though, dude.
Oh.
Your hair's just longer and grayer.
I know. More grays in the hair.
Yeah,
Yeah, you too.
I know. I got a flock of grays. As long as it stays, that's all that matters. I mean,
I love the grays.
I
got
love it
grays
too.
too.
Yeah.
I just cut my hair, but you can't see. But I
Yeah.
have grays on the side too.
I don't
and
mind the gray hair.
I'm not afraid of like the
Me
grays. Let them. I love
it's just
it.
weird though because you have this like profile picture in your head of like your friends. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then like you have to update it where it's just like add some gray highlights there. You know what I mean? There's just like that shit where like, and I dude, mushrooms is a good way to do that for yourself because
Yeah.
like let's say you never do shrooms.
I've done shrooms
Okay.
before. Yeah.
They say not to look in the mirror when you do shrooms, but like
I can affirm that
Yeah.
decision not to. I did it once.
I did it
and
once. The first time I did,
It was the hair follicles on my face that really threw me because I was looking at my face and all of a sudden the hair follicle, like all the hairs started kind of moving around like worms
That's
would.
funny. I had like I had the Indiana Jones in the Last Crusade moment where I just aged rapidly in the mirror and I was like,
Like,
oh
you know,
shit,
like,
that's how old I
into
look. I was like,
nothingness.
I like looked away and I looked back and I was like young and I like turned over. What the fuck?
You
And
had
then-
you had a you chose poorly moment.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, dude, I did. I could see all my
poorly.
life decisions, like smoking cigarettes for fucking 20 years. And it looked like that face app thing from a couple years ago. I looked like old Tony. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, that's what I look like now. And then I just like, that's just how I think I look and shit. And
You
it's
do
funny
the face
because
app
like,
and it's like the same thing.
yeah, exactly. I was like, no. And then it's like there was like a,
It's not working.
yeah, it's done, complete. Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, those face app things, whenever I look at them, I look exactly like my dad.
Oh,
for
me
sure.
too.
Exactly.
Me too.
Me
Yeah.
too.
To a scary level
yeah,
where you're
yeah.
like, oh, this is where I'm headed.
yeah. It's that shit's crazy.
It
I
is
did
crazy.
that, and then
Yeah.
like I heard like China was hacking it or something, and I
Yeah.
deleted it. I got nervous.
Take my
of it.
face. What do you want it for? I don't fucking
I don't.
know.
I don't know. But I did it though.
Everybody said that. They were like, oh, well, they're stealing your face so they can get in your face ID. And I was like, I don't know, man. At
They
some point
probably-
in time, they've got it already.
Yeah,
It's
they
too
already
late.
got it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not the one that
That
wired
ship
my
has
account to
sailed.
everything. You know what I mean? That was like Apple's plan. Just like,
Yeah.
yeah, but you get your credit card information, put all your social security, put your fucking DNA on this fucking thing. Like
Yeah.
you put too much information there. Me doing a thing that's like a trivial, seeing what I look like in 40 years,
Yeah.
which is weirdly fucking spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is
dude.
very
Weirdly
spot on.
It's
Dude, so what have you been up to in the last 5 years? I haven't seen you for 5 years.
Well, it's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
A lot has changed. And so, I met Tony through stand up and then I met you through Tony. And we would see each other at the comedy clubs and the nights out and the mics you were hosting. And that was a big part of my life for the longest time. And so that's probably one of the reasons we haven't seen each other. One, lockdown kind of slowed down and we lost some time with that. But I stopped
Also a
doing
kid,
stand up. I mean, I not because I was over it or done, but I think around 2018, 2019, I transitioned to a new line of work and it just became way more difficult to be trucking all over LA every night, you know? And then my kids were getting at that age a little bit more where when they were really young, it was easier to be gone because it was like they'd be going to bed anyway, right? But the more kind of comprehensive and understanding of like their dad being home, it was more important for me to be around. So I stopped doing it. And it was around 2019, 2020 that I started thinking to myself, I was like, I don't even know if I care about an entertainment career anymore. Like I just kind of started to let go of all of that. And that was around the time, long story short, that people kept saying like, you should make a TikTok. This was during the lockdown. They're like, you should make a TikTok. You should make a TikTok. And I had done the Vine thing, you know, even when we were doing comedy back in the day, I was making Vines. And I kept thinking to myself, I was like, no, I'd done it before. And TikTok at the time, I just felt like, I'm too old for this. I'm too old, but boredom got the best of me and made videos for a couple weeks, maybe even a month or two, had 20 followers on there. And then that really, this video went.
What video was it?
It was Smells Like Teen Spirit was the subject, which was kind of the summarized version is, did you know in stand-up, did you know Ryan Demarest? Yeah. So when he died, that was really the impetus as to what kind of created this whole TikTok thing. So for your audience, we knew this stand-up named Ryan Demarest, who was 10 years younger than me. He was like, he died at 30, or 32 or something like that. And he had died, and I'd done his podcast during the lockdown, and we'd always kept in touch. We'd texted each other and whatnot. And he was a big music guy. He loved Metallica, and we would talk about that all the time. And so I'm sitting there, I'm pretty morose and bummed out about his death. And I'm listening to bands, and I'm sitting there on my back patio, and I open up my phone, and I have this idea of like what it was like hearing Smells Like Teen Spirit for the first time, but I don't know how the app works at all. So that literally you choose the 30-second or the 1 minute, right? And if you pre-select a song and you roll, I'm so new to the app that I don't realize that if you film yourself while the song is playing, it's not going to record your voice. It's just going to, like, if you pre-select it, it's just going to play the audio. So here I am doing the stupid shit of me talking back and forth about Smells Like Teen Spirit. I play the video back and I go, my voice isn't on there. But I was like, So I just start typing the captions of what I'm saying to myself as a total fluke, not thinking it's a thing at all. I typed the captions on there, and then I put my phone in my pocket without even publishing it. And then the next morning I'm getting up for work, I open it up and it says, you have this unfinished video that you haven't published on TikTok. And I was like, I should delete this. This is dumb. And I had my finger over the delete button. And then all of a sudden I was like, I got 20 followers. What do I care? So I hit publish, and then I go to work. I break for lunch. I look at the app and I'm like, it was like 170,000 views or something. And I was like, holy shit. and then I was like, and then it's like by the evening it was 300,000. And by the evening it was close to, by the night it was like close to 1 million. Wow. And so then the next morning I got up and I was like, can I do it again? Can I do this same thing again?
Capture lightning in a bottle twice.
Lightning in a bottle. Can I do it again? And so I decide, all right, what's another moment? And the first thing came to mind, because I'd done Teen Spirit, which was this really huge moment as a teenager. I was like, oh, Radiohead's Creep, when he does the guitar, you know? And I was like, okay, I'll try that. So I make that one. That one goes to 1 million in the same day as well.
No way.
So then I'm like, I think I'm on to something here. I think I'm on to something.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's going. And about 2 weeks in, I do the Rage Against the Machine Freedom one, and it gets all the way to Tom Morello. He retweets it, and then my mom's visiting from out of town, and I'm like, seeing this thing that says, like, Spin Magazine says this guy recreates experiencing 90s music in the first time, and it's me. I'm sitting there with my mom.
That's so crazy.
I'm sitting there with my mom. She's visiting, and she goes, I was like, Mom, I'm in Spin Magazine. And she's like, is that good? And I was like, yeah, it's great.
It's good.
It's great.
It's great.
It's good news for me. So then so that you asked me a question of like what I've been up to. I still have a full-time day job, the kids, the family, the whole thing. But once it started, it opened up this huge new chapter of my life of kind of incorporating my stand-up comedy, my comedy writing with bands. And that had always been a constant for me. When I was 13, like if you were to meet me back then, I was known as the guy who's like, well, what's Jacob listening to? Well, he's crazy about this band. He loves this band, you know? And
dude,
so
I gave you like an iPod like years ago. Loaded with music and stuff.
Loaded music.
Big music buffs.
Big music buffs. We talked about it a ton. So it was always a big part of my life. And so I think what was so interesting was making videos about how much I love music doesn't ever feel like work or forced.
Right.
None of it
'cause
feels
you're-
like
yeah.
I legitimately feel the way that I do.
Yeah.
And I think that people see that when you make content. When
Yeah.
you're being authentic and 100% yourself,
Totally.
people are like, that's who that guy is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it worked. I think
For
that
sure.
everything before that wasn't that I was trying to be somebody else, but I really wanted them to pay attention to me. This was the first time that I didn't even know anybody was going to pay attention
Right,
to me.
right,
Yeah.
right.
And that changed.
That
the-
dismissiveness about being ready to delete it and then not even publish it right away is just like, that is how that works. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's just
Yeah.
like the fact that like something you just did and then you inadvertently stumbled upon the formula to get that, to
the
replicate that. 'Cause
captions.
every video you've made, I've like seen them all and they're fucking great and they're all great songs and just like you
Yeah.
nail it. You nail all that stuff. And I
Thank
like
you.
the fact that it's like you versus you. And it's just like, it's so simple.
Yeah.
It's so simple and so fucking brilliant. Yeah, dude.
Yeah. And people along the way have said, why don't you? I'm a man. The comments I get, as you guys know, being anybody who puts your stuff online, you get
Yeah.
amazing comments. You get like tons of wonderful ones. And then there's those ones that leak through that you're like, what the hell? The people write things. They're like, why don't you even change shirts? Like, why don't you even show that it's like two different people together? And early on, I just said like, I was like, you ever seen Fight Club? I was like, I'm Ed Norton and Brad Pitt. It's the same fucking dude.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, for real.
It's the same fucking dude. Like the whole point of it is if I'm talking to myself, the perspective of it should be, these are two sides of the same guy,
Yeah.
or it's so that you can watch it and be like, it's whoever you want it to be.
Exactly.
Right.
So anyway.
Yeah, the comments for us so far have there. We
You guys are fucking morons.
Yeah, I swear to God, we get that
Who
all the
funds
time.
this?
But
Yeah.
I think they're funny. Like when I go to the comments, I'm not like offended. I'm like like clutching my pearls or some shit. I'm just like, oh my God, someone that took the time. I'm almost like
know.
flattered. I'm like, you took the time to like say you hate us. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. I'm like,
Well,
and
good. You're
it's
going
like-
into it with a good mindset. It took me a while to get there. It took me a while because I mean, making the videos that I did on YouTube all those years ago, it used to always hurt. And now still every now and then somebody says something that I'm like, ow. But for the most part, the pros weigh out the positive weighs out the negative. So
Yeah.
I think you hit it on the head with like being your authentic self and like not giving a fuck is the special sauce to anybody that probably we all like or follow or whatever.
Yeah.
Like all the people that I follow, they are just them. Like there's no like production. There's like, I follow this guy, Mr. Potato, Mr. Potato Head. He's like this old guy who travels around in like a little van thing and he's from Canada. He's got like some bajillion followers, or whatever. And I love him. He's just him.
He's just
him. And that's why I like watching him. I like watching real people. And that's like, that's what you did. Like it's you, authentic you, your real reaction. And it's so simple.
Yeah.
And it's like,
it's just hard to do. I think it's hard, as entertainers and as things have grown from, we come from a time where reality television was literally invented as we were young.
Yeah.
It didn't exist. And then all of a sudden real people, they were getting the camera turned on them. And it's becomes more and more difficult to separate like what's real and what's scripted and like what I'm supposed to be on camera. And I anytime anybody asks me about creating content, I'm like, look, you're the only one of you.
Right.
So the thing that you can do is just do the things that you like. And maybe nobody gives a shit about that.
Right.
But you will go to bed every night knowing that you're just being yourself.
Yeah.
And that's all you can do.
That's the most unique thing, you know. It's such a great
The more you know.
Yeah, the more you know. So that's what I've been up to. That changed my life in a lot of ways because now I haven't had to pay for a concert in 2 years. Every band that comes through, I get invited, and then I get the coolest. I get to meet so many of my heroes, some of my favorite.
Who's the
icons.
coolest person you met? Who's your biggest like?
The nicest? Like
no, I mean as far as like you were like the most like if my 14-year-old self could see me now, who is that?
Billy Corgan.
Really?
Yes,
okay,
that
I
was
knew
it.
it.
Yeah. I mean, you knew
Big
this
fan.
Smashing
Yeah.
Pumpkins moment,
Yeah.
and for anybody who follows my stuff. Even this had been going on, and I'd had the contact with the Pumpkins. I'd still never met Billy, and a 30-year fan. As a 30-year fan, I'd still never met him. And just recently, we're talking like on the last tour they just came through a couple months ago, I met him for the first time. And for me, that moment was the one that I could probably blast out. And everybody who's known me since like 1992 would be like, that had to have been huge for you, dude. That had to have been huge. And it was. It was monumental. And it was a nice conversation. It was short, but it was backstage.
You didn't do anything like, hi, Jacob, I'm Billy.
No. I didn't do anything really embarrassing. What was so fun was I lived in the Chicago suburbs for a brief time in my life. Yeah. And so I brought up a couple of towns and things that he's a Chicagoan.
Yeah.
So we started talking about neighborhoods and certain things.
Pizza.
And so it was like, so it was like very quickly we jumped into a very comfortable, like, oh, you know where I'm from and I know where you're from and we can talk about that.
Yeah.
And that went on for a couple minutes and it was like, and then the only dorky thing that I think I did was,
can you sign my tit?
No. As he was leaving, he said something like, what was that? Now I'm already embarrassed. As he was leaving, I was so desperate to not lose him from the room that somebody said like William Patrick Corgan or something, said his name. And I said, my son's name is Ewan Patrick. And he turned to me and he goes, wow, we're so similar. And as a mocking, kind of making fun of me for that desperate plea. And I went, I know. And then he walked on and I really was like, why did I end it like that? But I was so, like it was like crazy in my head. I was like, I don't want this to end.
Yeah.
So anyway.
How do they reach out to you? Through the app?
Yeah.
Really? Through the app?
Yeah. And the funny thing is let this be a lesson to everybody. The social media accounts that are run by these, these big bands or celebrities, whatever. I remember when I got comments from them and I made a video. It was like, yeah, it's so cool. I've gotten comments. And of course the naysayers were like, yeah, you got contacted by an intern who runs the social media. And I was like, while you're probably correct, you got to remember that they talk to and communicate to the people that are managing the account are talking to the artists themselves. Yeah. So if you go in with that pessimistic mindset, then I guess nothing's going to work out for you. So I was excited that the account commented back and we started interacting.
Yeah, of course.
And that absolutely led me to work with the band by just having that positive, because I kept in touch with them and then they came through and then I made some videos and I did some fan interviews at shows. And so I just think that it's all about how you look at something. It's very easy for people on social media to be like, such and such big name account commented and be like, it's probably not them. Well, maybe it's not, but they're also going to know what content is being put out there representing them.
Exactly.
So anyway.
Just like haters.
Yeah, hey, there's so many haters. But the Pumpkins, that was a really cool one. And we spent about a year and a half where I would do stuff like they went on tour with Jane's Addiction. And so I got on a phone call with the Jane's people and the Pumpkins people. And we basically decided like, I'm going to make some videos to help like promote the Spirits on Fire tour. And it'll be these interactive videos about guessing these opening riffs to the song. So we did a lot of fun stuff like that where I'm working with the management, so cool. So, but another really great one has been, and this is a little bit more of an obscure one, but Sigur, the Icelandic post-rock ethereal band, getting to know them and getting to know that whole team has been like, oh, what a dream come true. Dream come true. Man. Jónsi, the lead singer, had kissed me on the cheek. And then on this last tour, I kissed him on the cheek and we have pictures of both. And just cool moments like that where you go, this is my life, it's pretty cool.
That is the coolest thing. Did you go to we went to the Metallica concert
I missed it. And I'm so, I know. And I'm heartbroken. I mean, when I saw Jason Momoa in the pit and all those videos going around there, I was like, I can't believe I didn't make it to Metallica. That is me. That's me mistakenly resting on my laurels and thinking, oh, they'll contact me soon and invite me to the show. Metallica and I have interacted on my Metallica video, but it never got to the point where, tickets were offered or anything. And I'm not that spoiled.
Downloaded them from Napster, they'd interact with you.
Yeah, right. But it's not that I'm that spoiled. I wasn't consciously thinking like I need to make sure I get tickets for this. And then before I knew it, it had happened. Yeah, it's like one of those things where I saw videos and I was like, fuck. It was this weekend. Yeah. So you guys were there?
We went.
Yeah, we went.
I've always wanted to see Metallica live.
You never seen them?
I've never seen them.
Okay, so
I've never seen them either. So that's why I went.
Yeah.
We went for my birthday.
Yeah.
So and I was like, oh man, what would be something cool to do on my 40th or 41st this year?
Yeah.
So I was like, shit, let's go to Metallica. So brought a couple friends. I was like, fuck, let's do it. Awesome show. Opening band. One of the opening bands was Five Finger Death Punch.
Yeah.
Fucking awesome.
They were great.
So good.
Yeah.
Like
awesome.
I almost hate to say it, but I was just vibing on them. Like it was so
you were feeling
good.
It?
Yeah. Like Metallica was definitely like my band growing up, the Black Album. Like your videos like connect so much with that where I was the kid in my room with the, like those stereos you get the two speakers and the thing in the middle, cranking it up. did it like headbang so hard I threw my like neck out like as a kid.
Wow,
when,
and our bodies were impervious back then. It's not like now when I go to a metal show and I literally spent 3 days afterwards going, oh God.
So sit in my room and just fucking like just headbang to that stuff. And it was like, oh man, like every song that they would play, I was just like taken back. Was like, oh my God, this is fucking crazy. It was such a great show. And that stadium is pretty nuts too. Like
it's so fun, right?
Yeah, I'd never been there before.
Massive.
It's like being at the like something out of Star Wars or something. It's like it just goes up and up and up forever. And everything was awesome. But like Five Finger Death Punch, like I said, I hate to say it, but like man, I was just like vibing on their tunes so much. I was like, oh, they're so fucking badass. Like the first song, we were walking in, and it's like the lyrics were "kill motherfucker, kill," and I'm like,
all of a sudden you're in slow mo for some reason, and you're just like,
I go to our buddy Charlie that we took with us. He's been like a podcast member of this for like 6 or 7 episodes, and I'm like, it feels like we're walking into hell. Like it just had that feeling. Like vibe. But then like you go in there and everyone's like, yeah, and I'm like, yeah, this is so fucking great. That's awesome. It's like the best feeling. I had so much fun at like being in a rock, like a metal show like that. I hadn't been in a long time. Not since I had gone to shows with you with your brother-in-law and stuff like that. But like being exposed to that again, it was like, man,
I go to a lot of metal shows, not to tangent too much, but like I go see a lot of metal, like really, really heavy, like Die Hard, Black Dahlia Murder, Carnifex. I go to Summer Slaughter. I go see Rivers of Nihil. I go see, I'm like, people are always surprised by that.
It's so much fun though.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah.
Miss that stuff.
Yeah, I think the Metallica show was like the last big metal concert I've been to, apart from like Disturbed shows and shit with Mike. But
doing.
If you go to another one, let me know. I'll definitely roll.
All right.
Yeah, that's.
I do it. I love going to metal shows.
Just concerts in general, though. That's like the thing I missed. That like the pandemic kind of knocked that out, and then like in the last few years, like I've seen a few shows and stuff. I actually went to a random ass concert. Like I saw Van Morrison at the.
Oh, that'd be great.
At the Greek, right?
Yeah. Good stadium. I like.
Never been there before. Amazing. Incredible. Also did mushrooms then too. Not like I'm not always
Van
doing
Morrison,
it, but like
the Greek and mushrooms. Wow,
what a fucking night!
What
just
a night!
Like he didn't even play Brown Eyed Girl. Like he was like, no, I'm not playing that.
He's
like,
over it.
He's over it. Just like fucking. He played like Wild Night.
Yeah, there you go.
And but like he played it while like the guy that I went with was smoking a cigarette. So we're like, I literally just went to go, hey, have a good night. It was like cheap tickets, like $75 for ticket. I'm like, all right, fuck it.
Not bad.
Not at all. And I've never been to the Greek before. So I'm like, check. And then did the shrooms, got some beers. And my buddy, like, he's like, yeah, I gotta, grab another beer, smoke a cigarette. I'm like, yeah, fuck it, I'll go. And then while we're out there, he plays like the biggest like commercial hit. He's like, dude, I'm so sorry that like he's playing this song right now. We're out here. I'm like, I don't give a fuck, dude. I'm just here to hang out. And basically, I paid $75 to have Van Morrison be the background noise for us, right? So let's just have a good time, and we'll go fucking kick it around there. But also, too, you're like in this fucking amazing fucking like theater, like because LA has some great venues. You have the
Hollywood
Bowl,
the
Greek, tons of Fonda, the Ace,
the Regent,
the Roxy, the Whiskey, the fucking Troubadour. There's a whole shit ton of places. The Wiltern's an amazing fucking place.
All of them you go in and there are always these ceilings and you're like, jeez.
Your jaw's dropping from the venue alone. And then the act comes on and stuff. And I saw, the first time I was at the Fonda, I saw Charles Bradley there. Like,
I knew you were a fan of Charles Bradley. You were one of the people who introduced me to Charles Bradley. Yeah.
Dude. Like, and I saw him like 3 times before he passed and shit. Because that was like there's like a certain energy that people have, and Van Morrison had that same thing too. If he ever comes through again, I'll gladly go for a second time. For sure, because the dude just kind of jams, like just fucking like.
Hey man, I'm Irish. I gotta get into some Van Morrison.
Just like it's just like an interesting thing where like there's he's also like a super old fucking dude. He's wearing like a bright fucking like pink tuxedo type thing. And it's just like, what is this? His voice sounds exactly the same. Like he already had like a gravelly voice back then anyways.
Yeah.
And just fucking like murder it. Did not do an encore. Did not do fucking Brown Girl.
He doesn't have to.
Metallica didn't do an encore either.
Yes, please.
Do you ever go to like these shows? Do you go by yourself a lot? Like, cause they're like, oh yes, you come, or like, are they like.
Oh yeah. So the ones that are through me doing TikTok and Instagram videos, I brought people from time to time on these, but it's usually I go by myself because I know that I have a better chance. There's 2 reasons. One is I'll probably have a better chance of getting some backstage time and getting to know the artist.
Yeah.
Because if you roll with a guest, then it complicates it a little bit. And then two, sometimes these places they'll be like, "We want you to come back," and if I can't bring the person with me, then I'm stressed about it. I'm worried because I'm like, "Are they having a good time or whatnot?" Right.
Where are they?
Yeah, so it's one of those things that I oftentimes I just go by myself. But
that's a cool thing though. It's kind of like one of the appeals to stand up at first when you get into it, where you're like going to these locations, you don't know anybody, you don't know any of the comics. You don't know any of the audience members, and you're just like a solo thing.
You're a solo. You're on your own, and I got to say, as somebody who has kids and a family, it's like, and also has done a million collaborative film, web series. You work with a team on everything. The thing that was so great about stand up was you are the artist. Yeah. You're by yourself, and I love collaborating. I love working with friends and doing partnered creative things together. But when you are the one who's kind of steering the ship, you get to say how the night goes. You get to also make the judgment call as to how late or how early you'll call it. You don't have anybody who goes like, "Man, I was really hoping I'd get out of here a little sooner than that." Your whole evening changes. You know, it's like, what if Cigarettes wants to hang out and smoke cigarettes and drink fucking Brennivan with me until 3 a.m.? I'll do it. And I don't have anybody who's like, "I don't know, I wasn't planning on that." You know?
I think those are like the best experiences though, when you go by yourself, especially with music too. Like it's just such a an intimate experience. Like you can't talk. You're not like talking to people when you go. You're there for music. You're there to like listen.
To absorb it.
Yeah. And like I had a like at work, somebody had an extra ticket for the Willie Nelson 90th birthday thing for the Hollywood Bowl.
I love Willie Nelson.
Yeah, and I was like, I knew like On the Road Again. I knew like some of his stuff. I wasn't like a huge fan or anything. And I'm like, well, I guess you had to buy 2 tickets for like every purchase, so you couldn't just buy a single ticket.
Wow.
So they were like, "Why? I'm going back to New York, and I have an extra ticket, and I'm not going to be here. You need it? You want it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like so I'll go." So I'm like, and he's like, "Just you got to go, man. You got to go."
I'll go for sure.
He'll be dead soon. You got to see Willie Nelson.
Yeah, and it was like. It was definitely a different experience than the Metallica show.
Sure, a little bit, just a little bit.
I wasn't getting into it, but it was on the other end of that. Like I was getting like choked up and shit during it. Like it was like some of his songs, because you were there being by yourself. You're really like listening to the lyrics and listening to what they're saying and what they mean with it, and you're like, oh my god, like shit, this is like so like. You're just like your heart is just like, oh shit, like this is such a good fucking.
Which makes me
like,
wonder how you listen to music regularly. Because you've always been like someone more on the sound of the music and not so much lyrics and shit.
Yeah,
and I've always been a lyrical based person.
He's like my music dealer. So like you've been that to your friends. Tony's been, and he's been that to you too. Like he's the guy who's like, hey man,
hot one for you.
Check this out. You want to check?
Open up the trench coat. Check this out.
Yeah, like totally. Like my whole life, he's always been like, check this band out. Check this.
Yeah,
I'm like,
but I'm, to your point, I'm a music sounds person more than a lyrics person.
Yeah.
I always have been. And so if I'm listening to a band, I can be weeping and not really even know what the hell they're saying.
But you think subconsciously you're like digesting the lyrics and stuff? Yeah.
Probably on some level. But I've always been, I made videos about this where I'm the kind of person that I'm actually listening to the auditory sensation of it all. And when I was liking girls in middle school and high school, and I was making them mixtapes, I was making them mixtapes based on the feeling I got from songs. And so they would be confused because their songs would be about like, I don't need you. These songs would literally like, I want to break up. I think you suck. Yeah. But it's just like, there's literally this great song by Pulp called Like a Friend. And I would put it on this, this mixtape. And it was like, that is this thing that people, my now wife heard on a mixtape and was like, what the fuck are you trying to say? Like this whole song is literally about like you don't want to be with me. So hilarious.
Better off alone.
Yeah.
I'm very much like that too, though. It's like the feel and like the chug and like the groove of a song like gets me.
It
like
gets me.
It just like
I feel it.
I need that first before I start to pay attention.
But is someone that's a lyricist,
I think that's like the ADD part of me
yeah.
where I'm like, like if I'm not like in it, then I'm like I won't pay attention to it. Like I can't.
Yeah.
But,
Well, Willie Nelson is somebody that it's cool that you brought it up because that's somebody that my parents played for my brother and I growing up in the car, and we made fun of him all the time. We'd always be like, for all the girls I loved before. My brother and I would hold our nose and sing like Willie Nelson. We'd make fun of him through our childhood, and I was like, oh, no more Willie. Well, now when I hear him, it literally ratatouilles me right back into the car in the back seat and with my mom, and I'm just like, oh God, life happens so fast.
For real.
And it brings me right back. So I love Willie Nelson.
Yeah, man. It's interesting. Like, cause music's good. Like my dad, like, is a big Neil Diamond fan. Right.
I love Neil Diamond.
Who doesn't, right?
Who doesn't love Neil?
Jewish Elvis, come on.
Yeah, come on. Incredible.
It's like, but there's like it's funny because my dad, I remember like vividly my dad driving his pickup truck, just smoking cigarettes, just fucking, 1,000-yard stare out the fucking window. And it's like, listen to Solitary Man. I'm like, oh, this poor song about, I'm like, but dude, you're an adulterer. Like this is so like, it's like this song doesn't even make sense for you. Like to be fucking emotional. But I just remember like feeling my dad's energy, listening to that shit. And like Neil Diamond like struck a chord with my dad. And my dad also kind of looked like Neil Diamond too. Yeah. So there's like this weird thing, but like great fucking artist. He doesn't play anymore. I would have loved to have seen him live. Yeah. Willie Nelson's one of those people I was envious about you for that. Cause like when Tom Petty passed, I was like, fuck, dude, there's a lot of these people are up there in that upper, echelon of age that are dying. That's why when Van Morrison came through, I was like,
gotta go.
Yeah, I gotta go.
You gotta go.
People like that just kind of come across. So I feel like that's gonna be my new thing. Like as the years go on, just check the summer fucking I mean,
shows. Fucking Bowie and Prince. I'm like, we didn't expect them to go so soon, and I'm so bummed that I never saw either of them. I kind of assumed in my head, oh, I'll get a chance, but
I saw Prince with my mom.
Oh, that's awesome.
With my mom. Prince, yeah. It was like it was in Milwaukee at the amphitheater at the Summerfest grounds, whatever. And she's like, you want to go to see Prince? Like, no one's want to go with me. And I'm like, yeah, sure. I had no idea. And I literally had like really no idea of him other than like a couple of his songs, like we're gonna party like it's 19, all that stuff. And I was like blown away. And I was doing music at the time, but just I was like, holy shit, like I'm like, does everybody else know that about this guy? Like, and they're like, yeah, like you idiot, like this guy's fucking ridiculous.
He's written every song,
and could shred.
Yeah, he was a shredder.
Like watching him shred was always like, wow.
So
he had sassy too.
He had like the sickest band ever. Like everybody was sick. Everybody was sick. The drummer was sick. The bass player, the saxophonist, and then what he did too was go up to each of them, take their instrument, and then fucking do it better than them. I was like, oh my God, this guy is fucking like, he's like amazing. Like he's an amazing artist. Like
he was on another level.
Oh yeah. It was like not, I was like, oh, like I was like pursuing music and stuff. I'm like, oh, I'm not an artist. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I am. Like, this is a whole fucking different thing, man. I was like, it was like depressing almost at the same time. It was so like shocking. Like, wow, like what a talented guy. That was such a big loss, man, losing that guy. Like, I would definitely love to see that guy again.
So I think that the idea of if an artist is like past, I mean, Jesus, it's past like 55, 60, you got to start being like, well, I got to go see him live. You've not seen him
before. Yeah, you got to see him.
You got to go see him. Yeah. I mean, geez, people, especially rock stars, right? There's only the rare exception of like the Rolling Stones that are still going. But like seem to have made a deal with the devil, clearly. But like they die younger because, I mean, a lot of them lived through an era where it was like, this can't hurt me, right? Yeah. And they're literally drinking and smoking and snorting everything. And they're like, so.
Did you see Stone Temple Pilots ever?
I did. I was so grateful. And that
where'd you see him?
So that was another, to answer your question, getting to know Robert and Dean DeLeo of SDP has been one of the coolest things to happen for me. Getting to know the brothers from the band.
No way.
That was
I didn't even know there was brothers in the band.
Yeah.
I just know Scott Weiland. That's it.
Robert and Dean DeLeo are the guitar player and the bass player for SDP, original dudes. And they're wonderful guys. And I've gotten to know each of them, and they're just fantastic guys to know. And Weiland, I was lucky enough that my first concert ever in 1993 in Tulsa, Oklahoma, when I was a kid, was Stone Temple Pilots.
Really? No way.
Yes, my parents were really strict. I came from a very Christian, like religious household, and they were not okay with like the music I was into at all. But randomly, there was this concert in this park in Tulsa called Mohawk Park, and it was the Flaming Lips, Butthole Surfers, and STP, Stone Temple Pilots, playing in this show.
That's like
and
amazing.
For some reason, my parents, they just
Butthole Surfers. Go ahead, Jacob.
Yeah, I know. I was like, what are you trying to say?
Go with Christ. They're never gonna let me go with the names of these bands.
Yeah, I was like, I actually, my brother and I have asked for years. We're like, there must have been. Like either they were dealing with something as a couple where they were like, we need you out of here. We just need you fucking gone. Or something. Cause it was so, we literally, when they said we could go, my brother and I were like
us can go. We can go.
We get to go. And so we went to the show and STP were incredible. They were so great. And when I did finally meet them, I said to Robert, I said, I saw you my first show, and I brought it up, and he was like, Mohawk Park, Tulsa, Oklahoma. I remember I walked off, I got out of the car, walked up, and they handed me the bass, and I just started playing, and I was like, holy shit, I can't believe I'm getting a chance to meet this dude.
That's so fucking cool.
Dude, that is
wild.
And that's a great year to see them. Like that's like in the fucking
that's like right when they're breaking on the stage. That's like when Plush is everywhere.
Oh my God, that's so fucking cool.
Yeah, it was a good memory.
Oh my God. That's music is fucking, man. So many great experiences with like just musicians and bands and experiences, man. It really is like, it's made me like I used to play music and I don't anymore. And now I'm like,
get back into it, man.
I know. But you play music too.
I do.
You're a great guitarist and singer, and you play music.
It'll fulfill your life. I'm telling you, everybody that I know who said like used to, I'm like, bring it back into your life, because honestly, it's this thing that even if you stop doing it, you start doing it again, it really does
complete you.
It really does fulfill you in a way that you're like, oh shit, I really missed this. You know? And
every time I go to a show, I'm like, man,
you should
I need to get back to this stuff.
You need to do it.
But then it's like every kind of music that I see, like going to Willie Nelson, I'm like, oh, I got to get back in my acoustic thing. And then like I see like Metallica and Five Finger Death Punch, I'm like, I need to get back in my heavy metal band.
I need my distortion pedal.
I'm like, oh, there's just like all these options, and I'm like too like ADD, or like I need like one thing to focus on, and I'm like just like, you know, like a dog with a bone. I don't know what to fucking.
But it feels good. It's one of those things that people, you know, when I have been asked before, how do I have enthusiasm for music at my age now? And I think it's because I didn't pursue it as a career.
Yeah.
And so I was able to retain a love because it didn't ever really get polluted or mixed up into, I need to monetize this somehow.
Yeah.
So I moved to LA trying to make it as an actor. You know, like that's why I came here. And so if somebody was to have me on a podcast and be like, let's talk about your film and television career, I'd have a lot of bitter feelings about all the years of things not working out.
But I want to talk to you about your film, because I mean, not to jump out of music, but like,
I don't mind. I always talk about music. So
that, I mean, I would have loved to have you on this before Halloween, just for the sake of the fact of like House Harker, such a great film that you did, and you shot it in northern Wisconsin.
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
you did?
Yes,
Really?
Shot it in northern Wisconsin.
No
great fucking movie.
Where in northern Wisconsin?
So it was in oh my gosh, why am I drawing a blank on the name as you're telling me right now? But it's it's near the Upper Peninsula up there and all that, or Washburn.
Yeah.
Washburn. I'm sorry, Washburn.
Okay.
So if you know where the UP is, it's like no one lives up there, and it's like the location, like it's fucking great. It's a great film.
Were you living out here when you filmed that?
Yeah. The long story short is Washburn a UP, or am I overselling it? It's up in that curve. It's in that dip.
Yeah.
So it's really close between Wisconsin and
UP.
Michigan and all that. Whatever those stations are that touch up there, right? They're like the old Duluth.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like up by that area. So we landed up there because one of the main actors that we worked with, Derek Hagen, he's a whole part of the Good Cops team that we made that stuff. That's his hometown, and that's where his parents live. And so when we came up with the idea for the story, he was like, if we film this in my town, like everybody will help. And he's like, and we have housing because my parents will put us up, and we have friends of the family. We can, like, if we shot this in LA, it'll be impossible because of permits and LA shit, right?
Yeah.
But he's like, if we film up there, we can do it. So that was why we chose that area. And little did we know, like, when we decided to film the movie, we were hoping to get up here by this certain time, but I was having a baby, the director was having a baby, and we were like, okay, well, we just need to do it by here. And when we figured out that it would literally start filming in November 1st, we were like, uh-oh, what about winter?
Yeah.
And then everybody who lived in that area was
right.
like, you should be fine. It usually will happen after Thanksgiving. Like, you should be fine. Boy, were they wrong. We got up there, we filmed for 1 week, and we got hit with like an Arctic blast. And literally on one night, it snowed 22 inches, and we literally rewrote parts of the script based on this snowstorm that we shot. So we filmed there for 3 weeks, and we had about 75% of the film in the can when we left. But because of the weather, there was a lot of stuff we couldn't do. So we spent the next year into 2015 getting like pickup shots around LA that were faking to look like Wisconsin. You know, it's hilarious. Like when I watch the movie,
palm tree in the
back. My God. When I watch the movie, I go, we're in one scene of like rounded cuts, and I'm like, Wisconsin, California, Wisconsin, California, Wisconsin, California. And we jumped around a ton, but if you watch it, you have no idea, you know, I mean, you guys being from around there, you would know, like, there's some scenes you'd be like, that's not what the horizon looks like. But yeah, it was a labor of love. We had raised money to film out there. Then we had a Kickstarter to do the post-production. And then it finally, in all the years that it took to put together, we released it on Amazon Prime in 2016. And we debuted in Shriek Fest, I think, here in LA. And you came to you came to that, didn't you? And so since then, it never became, I think, what we hoped it would, but it became a B movie kind of cult hit. Yeah. And so I feel like in the horror comedy community, I think people like it in that, you know, there's a lot of people that contact us and say like, I love House Harker. Like,
it's a great fucking movie.
Like people dress up on Halloween and like, so we're watching House Harker. And I'm always just really happy that happens. Yeah. The small community of fans is all you could hope for. You know?
That's crazy.
Yeah. But that goes to show though. I mean, as much as you might be better about your acting career, that's what you moved out here for.
Yeah.
And then also like you fall out of love with the thing that you're pursuing. Yeah. For monetary, reasons.
Yeah.
You do a good job what you do, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you're a great actor. You're a great fucking musician. You're a great fucking comic. You're great at doing content and stuff.
I appreciate
You're a great comic. I really want you to get back on stage.
I don't think I'm done with comedy yet.
As you shouldn't be.
I got to get back out there and do it again. And I've thought about, like, what are ways that I can kind of leverage what I'm doing in my socials to comedy.
I was going to say, like, do you think like that now can kind of get you back into something that you were kind of like,
I think so. And I think that it's not that I quit because I didn't like comedy. It's just the grind, you know, as well as I do. We were night after night after night at Mike's. And I remember for me, the turning point was I had done it for so many years. And then I went back to my hometown and I did an hour in my hometown, and I was treated with so much respect in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Yeah. And then I came back to LA and I went to our regular spot that I've been going to for 8 fucking years. And I literally put my name down on a list, and the host didn't know who I was at all. Not that you know what I mean? Like but he still made me wait 2.5 hours to do 5 minutes. And I thought, I just am so tired of how many years I've been trying and working so hard at this, and I still kind of am put to the end of the line. Whereas you go back to you go to another city, and people really do respect what you can do. And so that really burnt that feeling for me. I was like, LA is just such a fucking frustrating city because it's all this scene.
But LA is like where you do your workout. It's the gym,
I know,
right?
And I would love to
before you get on the field, and the field is like out of town. Like you really like, even going, dude, I mean,
do you get out of town now?
Vegas, I've been doing Vegas, like, is like the new close thing where there's like,
that's
like
awesome.
15 clubs and shit there. And there's like a whole bunch of like, I just see dollar signs there. I would never live there. I don't like Vegas, but I like the fact that you do get that kind of like grandiose, treated with respect. You're an LA comic. Yeah. Like people are happy to see you there. Like there's not like that, like, so what's your day job? You know, there's like that. They're like, this guy's a fucking comic. You know,
there's
like
Jay Hollingsworth, I think, is out in LA and Vegas permanently. And so he's somebody that I've thought about, well, I could contact Jay.
Absolutely.
And probably get on
Amir
some
Khalil too.
Running.
That's like
who?
Amir Khalil.
Oh my God, he's out there.
Yeah, man. I went out and like with him and I'm trying to blank here. This is so fucking. Delete this.
We'll cut this part out. We'll cut this part out. Of course, we remember you. You're unforgettable.
The guy that drove me out there. Yeah, Franklin Yee.
Oh, Franklin Yee.
Franklin took me out.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And that was like the first time I kind of like got out to Vegas post pandemic, and I was like, oh, Vegas is like seeing its change, because last time I was out there, I did like the bonkers like clubs, and there's like two of them there, like, and one's in like a retirement home, the other one's like in a fucking like bar on the strip, and it's just like, and then the pandemic happens, and then it just blossomed, and there's like, you know, there's like, it's overwhelming how many clubs are out there, and like then how many off, you know, venue shows there are, just like a whole bunch of stuff where like it replicates LA's scene, but like there's a respect there too because it's all tourist people.
All right. Well, I won't do it until I'm invited to host the Sphere. Got a comic coming on before you too. Just my face and all around.
What would your projection background be?
Like, man, like, you know? Probably something music related, right?
Yeah,
like if I got a fucking setup there, I would do like a stack of Marshalls all the way around. like I'm in Metallica.
An infinite amount of
check out the show.
Yeah, exactly. So I've thought about like I could probably bring. And maybe this is annoying, so maybe you'll talk me out of this, but I was thinking like I could definitely bring my guitar up for stand up and do things related around music in jokes.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
I don't play guitar, so I have no like I don't judge anyone that has the musical accompaniment with comedy. I like that. That's a fresh thing. And it is what it is, man. I mean, there are a lot of music comics.
There's like a big like surgence of like influencer TikTok kind of people or anybody like on social media that are like performing. Like I see at the Laugh Factory, like this one guy that does like videos and stuff, like he's like headlining over at the Laugh Factory. It's like, oh, that guy's like doing stand-up. And we had a guest on, Fatima. She was talking about that, where she was like, oh yeah, like a lot of the, I think she works for a company or something that like does social media stuff, so she meets a lot of these guys, and she's like, yeah, they're getting like opportunities that like, you know, and she's in the grind and doing it all the time. She's like,
you might actually level up from your TikTok.
I think it'd be a great opportunity
like,
if you do.
I feel like I could.
If you do want to get back into it, I think like now would be the time to do that kind of stuff, because you know you're a talented guy, and now like everything's like coming together, like, you know.
I do miss it. I look, I always loved performing and doing shows. It was always a blast. It was just I think it was the demand of, you know, you get home at 1, 2 in the morning and then you go to your job the next day. And it's like, you guys know.
I mean, you might be surprised. You go to like one of those places now, you might not be that guy.
Might not have to be the guy who gets on at 12:30 at night.
Like, I'm the
I gotta go
like,
first?
Mr. Givens? You're here?
Right this way. You get kick off the show. And like, really?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's worth a shot.
Yeah, why not, man?
Yeah.
Do it all.
Yeah, I was dropping my kid off at school today, and I was thinking about your life cereal joke. And I was like,
oh yeah, that's the best joke.
Yeah.
Life
cereal. On occasion, I've been asked to
I got an idea.
I've been asked to do stand up over the years, even during the pandemic. And I've been like, what can I do in a couple minutes to show it? And I'll pull that one.
Oh, that's such a good one.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah.
You gotta watch. You gotta come to see Jacob live. The next time he does stand up, to do that joke.
Yeah.
I don't want to ruin it.
Are you running any rooms right now?
I am
considering, or we're not allowed to talk about it.
No. I mean, I have a show here this Sunday, on the 5th. If you feel like doing it, I will give you some time for sure. Do the life joke. This will not air before then.
Just have me go up and do the life joke.
Do that. No, I mean, really, I'm just doing like a show for my birthday and stuff.
That's
and like,
awesome. What day is the 5th? That's Sunday?
Sunday, yeah.
Sorry, my 90s cover band is playing that day. We're playing Temple of the Dads is what we're called. Nice little reference to Temple of the Dog. We're playing Corbin Bowl on Sunday.
Okay. Wait,
Corbin Bowl is in Tarzana.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I know
what it is. Yeah. It's like, I think people have run comedy shows here before. So it's a bowling alley, and then they have like a little lounge room.
Yeah.
But so we're playing on Sunday.
That's cool.
That's sweet.
Who's in the band?
It's me, Matt Neal.
I thought it was. Okay.
Matt Neal is our drummer, who I also met through stand-up.
Yeah.
He is like me. I think that life and kids and stuff has taken him out of it. But we talk all the time about... Huh?
It's a way to plug your life joke.
Yeah, I know, right?
Man, life.
Yeah. So he... I think he also misses comedy. And we talk all the time about like, well, what if we could put together like a monthly show where we play as a band and we also run a room?
Yeah.
You know, or something like that.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Maybe that could come around. But the other two guys...
The music and comedy thing is something I've always loved in like, especially in a town that's so oversaturated with like entertainment.
Yeah.
Like to have a little bit of music, a little bit of comedy, and just kind of like, not necessarily switch it up between acts, but like just have something to kick it off.
Just something to make it a little different.
Exactly.
Right? Because comedy shows can be, especially when you have too many and it's just like one after the next, it can get a little tiring. And so if you have this other thing to look forward to on one side or the next. Like, oh, I came for comedy. Oh, and there's music. Or I came for music. Oh, there's comedy. That can kind of make a fun.
Selfishly for me as a producer, I want to see like another live art form that I don't actually partake in.
Yeah.
So like seeing like an artist play live, I'm like, awesome. I got that. That's a little whets the appetite. We do the stand-up part.
Yeah.
I got my nut off. We're all good to go here. Like it's that type of thing. So like I don't know if you remember years ago we used to do that show at the Cork, whatever, the Corkies and like the
Cork Lounge. It was the open mic.
Yeah.
And it was I still follow that social media page, and I've thought about going back there again, which is we did comedy, and then they would also have people, singer-songwriters going up there and doing acoustic songs or just vocal performances. It was a very cool place. That's right there in Van Nuys.
Like The Voice and like America's Got Talent. It was like talented ass singers and shit.
Yeah.
But like that's the same thing too, where there's just like you just take a second to like get out of your own artistic headspace and just watch someone dominate the thing that they do.
Yeah,
like that's
great.
Yeah, that's
always exciting. So yeah, I mean, the cover band has been a lot of fun. We've only played, this will be our third show, and we practiced a lot over the past year and a half or so. And you wouldn't know the other two guys because they're not in comedy. But look, we're all guys in our 40s and 50s who grew up in the 90s and played music, and Matt and I had been talking about starting a band for years. And then when this came about, it was just like, well, this is a fun opportunity to, I mean, we play Green Day and Weezer and Pumpkins and Pearl Jam and, Nirvana. We do a whole bunch. Instead of picking one artist and just doing that one thing, we do a whole.
Oh yeah, it's like your favorite playlist.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's great.
And there's only a couple artists that I can't do. Like I cannot do Chris Cornell. I literally can't. Like if anybody wanted to Soundgarden song, I'm like, you get used to this being sung a pitch or two lower, because I can't match that guy's vocal range at all. But
yeah, I actually recently got into like I've appreciated Chris Cornell, but like I've always been a Lane Staley guy. Like that's like I'm Alice in Chains.
Both geniuses, but I also was bigger into Alice in Chains in high school.
Appreciate that. Yeah. And then like Andy Lazarus and Ben Gonzalez, also 45 and plus guys and shit. Like, no, Cornell's the dude. I'm like, no, man, Lane's the guy. And then I'm like, all right, his range is amazing. Plus, going back to the Prince thing, dude, like when he does that cover of fucking like,
oh, Nothing Compares to You.
Oh my God.
It's amazing. Chris Cornell was incredible, and I loved him as well. But for some reason, when Dirt was happening and Bad Motorfinger were happening like right around that time, I loved Soundgarden, but Alice in Chains, I don't know what it was.
Man.
It was a little
fucking,
bit. I think it maybe have been those harmonies between Jerry and Lane that always really like, it was like these minor keys together. Yeah. And I was like something hypnotic about it. But I do love Soundgarden, but Lane was more my guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I got to meet the guitarist for the Alice in Chains. I did a buddy through Tony. So known him for like 10 years.
Yeah.
Paul Gervais. Yeah. And he runs this works for this company that does like what is it? It's like when you can go and play bass.
Did that, the fucking the band camp thing.
Like, Rock Camp?
Yeah, Rock
Camp. I did it. I did it earlier this year.
Oh, really? Okay.
I'm not kidding. Like I got invited to go,
Fantasy
and that's where I met the D'Elia brothers.
That's where was it? Was it in
it was in North Hollywood. So
that's the one. I would drive the van and like get all the
this
people.
Year was this another time?
No, this is like 2 years ago.
No, this is years ago. This is like 6-7 years ago.
Well, yeah, I always forget the 2 years of not doing anything with the pandemic. I'm like, it just jumps like a couple years.
Totally.
But yeah, there was like, I mean, Megadeth.
No, it was fucking.
Dave Mustaine.
Dave Mustaine.
It was also what the fuck is it? The band.
They've had some incredible.
Far Behind. Come on.
Candlebox.
Candlebox.
Yeah. So we're driving like the shuttle, van for like the not only the people in the camp
that are going to the camp, but also the artists. Yeah.
So the bass player from Candlebox is riding shotgun.
He was at my camp as well.
Super cool guy.
Super cool guy.
Like I love that band. I bought them off BMG, on my brother's account. Like that was like a big thing. I was just like, that's fucking crazy, man. Like, you're the guy.
Yeah, that was such a cool experience because Rock Camp is not, it's a amazing opportunity. It's a ticket price that not all are able to, afford to go to something like this. And not that it's not worth it. I'm going to say that right now for Rock Camp. It's worth it. But I was lucky enough to have made enough videos that they saw me and they were like, we'd love for you to come to camp. And so I got to be kind of a guest at the camp.
Yeah.
But that was such an amazing and surreal experience to stand up on stage. And I got to play with Kim Thale from Soundgarden.
Yeah.
And I got to play with the D'Elia brothers. And just it's a cool thing that if you have the ability to do rock camp, it's incredible experience.
Yeah.
You know, you spend 4 days just jamming all day.
Yeah. Like you're like in a band.
You're
like
in a band for the weekend.
There's rehearsal rooms for people that are like watching or listening. Like there's all these different studios.
Yeah.
And each of them have like somebody from like a crazy big band that's like basically like
it's amazing.
Your music teacher for the week
or
whatever.
I still text with my entire band from that group. We talk all the time because you spend 4 days together. And our counselor was Samantha Maloney, who was in Hole and played with Volley Crew, and she was our counselor. Samantha is now like a friend for life, and I'm literally like, she's somebody that I always want to keep in touch with. It was a great experience.
Yeah, everybody that was there was always like so cool. Like there was never like an asshole.
No, there was
like everyone was just like
no
so
dicks in that
nice.
thing
Like
at all,
everyone's so nice.
Yeah,
like hanging out, just like having a drink or like talking to anybody. Didn't matter, like to the drivers or to anybody. They were so nice and like welcoming. That whole thing was like really cool to like be a part of for a little bit, even if we were just drivers. I did it I think like 2 years or 3 years I did it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was.
Well, I hope to go back. I do. I've kept in touch with the team, so I'm hoping that maybe I have another time that I get to go.
I'm sure they will. Yeah. Shit, we might as well get back on the camp too.
Yeah.
Driving around.
Yeah.
Jacob's us.
Jacob, hey, morning. I'll just get you guys in on our band.
Yeah, we did that like it was the year we had massive, before this current year. The last time we had like that, just massive amount of rain is when we were doing it and shit. And just like shuttling people, and then like we they do the fucking like the show at the Whiskey.
Yeah.
So did you guys play the Whiskey?
We did.
Nice.
I played on stage the Whiskey, which was a bucket list moment. I played Viper and I played Whiskey, and that was a what a cool fucking thing to say you did, right?
Yeah.
Like, to get up there on that stage and perform for all these people, and you hear your guitar over the PA system, and you're just like, this is a dream come true.
Yeah. What do you think was cooler, the Whiskey or the Viper?
So Viper is so small.
Yeah,
it's so
tiny.
Intimate.
It's a tiny
it's very, very tiny.
When people say intimate, I feel like it's overrated. You know what I mean? It's just like the Viper is just like it was a scene, and it was just something because it was a scene, but like really,
it's like LA CBGBs.
Is it though?
I mean, so all I'll say that I really like about the Viper is that the sound for us as musicians on the stage was way better than it was the Whiskey.
Interesting.
So like when I played the Whiskey, there was this weird delay between like the drums and the bass, and we were all looking at each other like, what the fuck is happening right now? Like, what, are we off time? And it was like really weird. And so like you watch the video of us playing the Whiskey, and you're like, it looks cool, looks fine, it's okay. But when I walked off stage of the Whiskey, I came up to my wife and I was like, did we suck so bad? Because the sound up there was just a mess.
Yeah.
But the Viper is at least tiny enough that when you're up there, you can really have a clear indication as to what you're playing.
Okay.
But both venues are fun. I have a lot of fun at both of them. Whiskey, you just have more space, right? You can go upstairs, you can go downstairs. Viper Room is like, it's like you're in this tiny little space, right?
For real.
Yeah. But
it's
fun.
Yeah. Good insight. Cause like I was wondering that, cause I kind of feel like the Viper Room, because it's like a notorious LA Sunset Strip place,
so cool.
River Phoenix Dad out front. You're just like, ooh, is it that cool? And like, knowing from now on stage, I don't play fucking guitar. I don't have a monitor. It doesn't matter to me. But
this is like the nightmare situation. That's just so
you're
scary.
up there and you're like,
you have no idea how scary that is. That'd be like you guys going on stage for stand-up and be like, and you're just got like a 3-second delay with your joke.
Mic. And you're like, why is my mic playing my joke back to me? Like that's what it felt like. It was literally like no shit talk to the Whiskey, but maybe that's normal. But we got up there and I was like, man, the sound is so weird in my ears that I just wasn't ready for it. Where the Viper just felt like playing like you're playing like a total dive LA spot, and you could hear your amp, you could hear the drums, you could hear everything. And also the guy who manages the Viper, Tommy Black, he's like the coolest fucking dude ever, and he's been so nice to me. So that's like another reason. So I have this feeling about Viper, even though it may feel like a very LA scene, it's like a really easy place to get to know the people there. Whiskey feels a little bit like they were doing us a favor.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. I hope you enjoyed this moment.
Go play. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Oh man, that story is the greatest though. That's like, because I know what that's like. I've been I played a show in Chicago one time at this like bar, and they had I forget the name of it, but it was like some like national venue, and it was like all this thing, and it was like. It's like, luckily it's like 10 people there. And they had the radio playing Red Hot Chili Peppers while you're playing. It was coming through my monitor on the floor. And I'm like, you have no idea. And you're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do right now. You have no idea how hard it is to sing over someone singing. I'm like trying to keep it
Anthony Kiedis, who's not a,
Yeah, it was like, oh, you just want to like, give it a wee, just like crawl up and die. Like, just be like, oh my God. Just make this end, and it's like you got 5 more songs. I'm like,
oh my God,
could somebody turn off the radio and my monitors?
That is amazing. I love it.
That's hilarious.
Crazy. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Well, we are almost out of time.
I was wondering. I was about to check in and say, like, is there a clock that runs on this?
We do. Yeah, we started a little after that. Normal? So. No. We're right on time.
Okay. Right on time.
Okay. Because I'm chatty, Get going and they can't shut me up. So
that's the whole point.
Good. It's like such a fun podcast.
Man.
Just and not even a podcast, just to see you again and catch up and like just
get a chance to hang out.
Yeah, I'm happy for you.
I only hang out with friends on camera now. That's what I do.
Yeah. I get it, dude. I get it. I only spend time people if it's in my content. That's how
get over here and then we'll hang out.
We'll hang out, but you got to film something for it.
Yeah. So. I just wanted to really talk about House Harker. That's like the main thing. I wish we'd have got it before fucking Halloween.
That's okay. That's okay. I mean, look, every year around Halloween, I start making videos about it to promote it, to get people to watch it. But for those who are listening to your show, it's on Amazon Prime. It's on Tubi. If you have Prime, it's free. Tubi, it's free. It's fun. It's 80 minutes. It's like a drive-in movie. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a fun movie to smoke or drink or do something and just cut loose. It's not meant to be taken seriously, but you can tell when you watch it, you can tell that all of us were having a really great time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like well written, well thought out. Like it was a, don't undersell it. Cause it's not like it's like, dude, I've had plenty of friends that have made shit projects and shit. And I will not name them. I've done a lot of those shitty projects. Like half of my resume is shit projects that I've done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how this, the jump off of plugging your movie is like, oh, dude, I know that. Like I moved out here to do acting and like, I hate acting shit. I'll do it now. And I actually like, through the last year of like, tragedy in my life, like I'm the most well-rounded actor ever. Like, dude,
totally.
Like,
I bet your emotional range is
my emotional range, Jacob, is so fucking off the charts at this point.
For me.
Buddy, I did this thing in fucking in Mexico in like February. This most random fucking thing I've shot. It was like this scene called for like, it's a guy whose wife's leaving him, having an affair. He's got a kid. I was like, oh, I got this in space.
Hold on.
I started bringing this emotional range. I started getting welled up. The fucking rest of the cast started getting fucking like teary-eyed and shit. The crew's starting to get fucking choked up. I'm like, oh yeah, who's this Brando over here? I'm like, just fucking like,
where did he go in his mind to channel such great emotional range?
He went to 2 weeks ago.
What's it yesterday?
It seemed like it was very recent.
Yeah. So like that, I mean, now, I haven't had like an actual role that actually, bite into that since then, but like when I moved out here with that, like glisten in my eye, like I'm gonna be an actor. I didn't have that stuff, and I think that's like it's surprising when there's young actors that have that kind of range so early on. It's like, what kind of shit did you go through? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like how do you have that kind of like emotional range? Where like I was always kind of a stoic guy until like and it's not just like the last year, but it's just like the last.
Yeah.
Since I've known you, we've aged. We've gone through life.
Through life. Yeah. I
So.
mean, look. I don't know if a lot of those young people really. There might be some of them that can tap into it, but it's not that they've been through a ton of stuff. It's just that I think that there's a performer, in people from a young age that just glom onto it naturally. And that's why they can do it from a young age. Some of them may have had the shit handed to them, but I'll never forget when I was pursuing acting, I met with this guy that was kind of advising me as to what to do before I even went to college. And he said, I'm going to tell you right now, if you got invited to go to Juilliard and study with the greatest actors in the world, or if you got invited to go live in China for a year, go to China. Because he's like, that'll make you a better actor. Life experience will make you a better actor.
Right.
You surround yourself with a bunch of people, talking theory and like how to act. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
But what you're talking about right now is we've lived.
Yeah.
We've lived. And so if you ask me to do something now at my age now, I've lived a long time, and you have too. Not that long. I'm not aging it that much. I'm just saying.
We're 90 years old.
Yeah, we're 90 years old. Now I'm just saying, like, there is something about life experience that really does speak to the performance, and I think that these 20-somethings that can really pull and glom onto emotional range, those are rare.
Yeah.
But when you have lived, there's something in the eye of that actor that you go, oh, wow.
Yeah.
You know, they felt it. They've been through it.
Yeah.
You know, so keep at it.
Well, that somber note.
Yeah. Let's make sure we leave this show on a big cry session.
Big cry.
That's the Kleenex.
You guys have been talking about my demons.
You know, I've had two IPAs.
This is that kind of show? Yeah. Okay, let's get more beer. Let's fucking
Just tears running down.
Get this man the gout.
Give me, which is fucking sucks.
Real quick, before we end, let's just
talk about that real quick.
Jacob. Let's talk about this real quick, because I felt bad because I was called Jacob before this podcast started. I'm like, hey, what do you want for beer? We usually drink beer on this podcast. And he says, I don't drink beer anymore. I'm like, but that's what our thing. Yeah, drink beer.
Thing.
And then you said you had the gout.
I had the gout. Well, here's the funny thing. When you and I hung out in comedy days, we had beers all the time. That was like a thing that we did. I did it to myself. I mean, there's been some theories that COVID and having that introduced into our bodies, which we all caught at some point in time or another, has really sped up conditions in people's bodies that wouldn't normally have manifested. But during the pandemic, during the lockdown, I pigged out and gained a ton of weight. I gained like 20, 30 pounds. And I was eating cheese and meats and fish and
charcuterie boards for fucking dinner.
Charcuterie was it. That was it. That was my Achilles heel. And the nickname of
seducing yourself.
Yeah, the nickname of
don't mind if I do.
Yeah, don't mind if I do. The nickname of gout is the malady of kings, because it was given to people who got gout were overdoing it. They were drinking and eating too much. And so when I got it, I was like, this tracks. I've been really not taking care of myself. Yes. Not only that, but we built a medieval tavern in my garage during the lockdown, and I was making mead, which is I was like living the life of a king.
A Ouija board for fucking like gout.
I was living the life. And so when I got gout, I was, by the way, it's a nightmare. It's horrible. It sucks. The pain is awful. But the silver lining is I lost 30 pounds. I completely revolutionized like the way that I eat and like take care of myself. And I miss beer so much. And the only reason I don't drink it is because it's one of the activators for gout. Yeah. But thankfully, I take stuff to help suppress it. Yeah. So I can have beer. I just can't be like beer all the time. It's almost like now it's a reward. It's like something I can have if I'm treating myself. So when you were like, can I get you a beer? I was like, you know what? This is treating myself. I'm treating myself tonight. So I'm going to enjoy myself tonight. So, I haven't had a beer, and it's probably been 4 or 5 weeks. So this was nice.
I was waiting for you to say years,
months. No.
About 4 or 5 hours.
4 or 5 hours. I had one at the end of my workday.
Exactly.
No. So now the one thing I can have is vodka. Seems to be like the one thing that doesn't really cause that many problems. And so I have vodka drinks, and I'll occasionally have red wine or whatever. Yeah. But gout is a pain in the ass. It really is.
It's really pain in the foot.
It's pain in the foot. But I lost weight, and I'm hopefully going to live longer now because of that. So. There you go.
Silver lining.
Right?
That's a positive note.
I'm way hotter now.
That's how we wanted to end it now. Yeah. All right, Jacob, where can people find you?
You can find me on TikTok at the Jacob Givens, and everywhere else at Jacob Givens. I have the movie House Harker, which I talked about, but you type my name into Google and it's me. I own that name, so you can find me wherever you want. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jacob. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, guys. Eric, Tony. It is so good to hang out with you guys, and I'm so glad you invited me on. I appreciate it.
Dude, I'm glad we did this.
Yeah.
I'm at Tony Klein Comedian. I don't plug too much shit, so I'll just pass it on to Eric. Boom.
If you want to watch this podcast, it's on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. The full episodes drop every Monday. The full episodes go on Spotify every Monday. And then throughout the week, I do 60-second clips of the podcast itself that you can check out every single day till the next week. And if you want to buy some cool beer mugs,
I gotta give me one of these.
Support the channel or whatever. We have t-shirts and stuff like that. Help support the podcast by going to theericandtonyshow.com and buy some stuff. And you can follow me at Eric Rustler. It's mainly just this podcast clips that I put up now, and that's it, man.
You get wine glasses for Jacob now.
Yeah, I got to give me a wine glass, guys.
A wine glass.
I did forget to mention my podcast, which is Waterproof Records. That's the one about music. So
check it out. Waterproof
Check
Records.
it out.
Waterproof Records.
Thanks again, Jacob, for coming on the podcast. Really appreciate it. It's nice to see you. 5 years is too long.
Too long.
Let's do this.
Let's do it at least 4 years from now.
Or not even a podcast, even just a